How's everyone doing tonight?
Man, I tell you, I hate people sometimes. I'm just going to say it. I don't hate them. I just strongly dislike them. When you work customer service, you learn something very quickly about people. They suck. And you have some good souls out there too, but they usually suck as well. And technology is a bitch. Thank God you can't marry her.
I remember the day I met you. I mean, you look so different in person than on the computer. And we were in the store, one of the stores you were working at, and you came up to me and my son. I was like, "Who are you?" And then I realized after I kind of was able to place it on, Facebook, I had no clue.
Well, I'll get that a lot, but it's a new life now. I've left that life and I've started my new procedures of entertaining and elevating and creating and doing all that jazzy jazz stuff that we do here. We have Sundays with Suits, and I've been working overtime, so I haven't been able to do my daily shows like I was doing originally. But that's coming back, I think, probably in the near future. But yeah, it's so funny. I started this new job working in the streaming service business, and dealing with people all day is very different. And then people are like, "Oh, I want reading." Not you can't talk about that kind of stuff at the workhouse. But just talking about that you don't think work. You're like, I'm not gonna have any work. It's not gonna come up. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And then I started doing Sundays with Suits thanks to Howard. He was like, "You gotta do it. You gotta do it." I was like, "Well, my stuff's not ready."
You have to do it. You have to do it.
Yeah, to do it. So
you're doing it.
We got a nice little following that started, which is great, and I feel like it's going to get bigger. We just started. I started doing my own thing, which is very different, I think, than most people do. We've had some really cool events happen with like the cards and like what's in the box and people saying crazy shit, cards flying out of nowhere. So it's that's been really interesting. But you talk about the paranormal, and you talk about people, and you talk about relationships, and you talk about business, and you talk about paranormal shows, and you talk about how we're all coming together, this para-unity, and we have the Transformer virus, and then we have Izzy, the bad snowstorm that's about to hit the southeast, which I thought already happened, but apparently it didn't. We had bad storms here in Mississippi, but
I got my coffee.
Not Isabella. That was not the mean little stepsister who's about to throw a bunch of snow on my ass. No, that was not the case. So we're awaiting her. You know how you can tell it's about to snow? The cats that you take care of that don't go in boxes start going in boxes, and that's when it's about to get cold. But same way like paranormal investigators, we and Howard knows this. I very rarely investigate now because I feel like some people have blown it into the water. And I think probably, Eileen, you can talk about this a lot, is that, when you start investigating just because for investigation's sake, right? And not investigating for reasons like why we got into it in the first place. Why like, oh, there's a little girl coming here who's scared to death to go to sleep. Not, oh, I'm a hot guy, I'm a hot girl, and let me just show you everything, and let me just get ready to go on MTV or CNN or whatever, and I'm just going to sell you all this stuff. So I got really sick and tired of it. I got sick and tired, and I got sick and tired of the metaphysical business in the first place. I feel like so many people take advantage of other people. I had a girl call me yesterday, and she's like, and you're not used to it. This is what really blows your mind. When you're used to charging, I've talked to Howard about this, a certain amount, right? And people don't know. David Childers, one of the first people who ever
we don't talk about David.
Investigate.
We don't talk about David. He's mean. We don't talk about David.
David, all right, I'm gonna tell you a story about David. You'd probably be very upset with me. I have old footage of David Childers before he was David Childers. So you'd be like, don't you fucking show that shit. But anyway, David Childers taught me one thing. I'm gonna get back to that, but I want to talk about David real quick. So we were investigating the place, and he was looking around, and he probably doesn't remember this. We were with the team at the time, and he was like, "You gotta be fucking self. If you're not fucking self, then you're gonna fall flat. If you let this person be this person, that person be that person, that's how a team develops." And sometimes, like at this time, the team didn't want me wearing suits. They were like, "You have to." And David probably get mad at me when I say this. The team did not want me to wear suits. And when I stopped wearing suits, I started getting attacked. I started getting paranormal ghost sickness, all these other things, right? And when you start attacking teams and team members, and when you start attacking metaphysical people in general, people start to feel different about things, right? So and Nick and Howard, I know you probably now leaning over this, because when you get a little bit of heat on you, right? I'll use a wrestling term. You get a little heat on you, right? And you're doing good shit, right? People are wanting to ride your coattails. David can talk about this as well. There are people who just want to take advantage of the situation. And
I don't want to ride David Childers' coattail. No.
I try to run from David.
You don't know who your friends are, and you don't know who you can, right?
I try to run from David as much as possible. It just doesn't work. I can't get away fast enough.
Well, I'll tell you, David has a certain ability to cut the bullshit and tell it how it is. He will sit there and he will say, "You know what? This is why rednecks should not have cable TV." That's the I drove 5 hours out here for this shit. But he would never say that to them. He would say, "Hey, I'm gonna listen to everything." That's the other thing you gotta appreciate about David Childers. He will listen to every word there is, and he will come in and he will say, "Okay, all right." He won't dismiss anybody, and that's really hard in this day and age. When you're dismissing, he might come back to the car and be like, "Mother, like, what the fuck?" Right? But he knows how to lead a team. People like that don't exist. Eileen, you as well. Howard, Nick, I see how you talk about the paranormal. When creating a team,
yep,
this is the hardest fucking thing to do. And that's why so many teams falter. They blow away. They end up in 2 seasons, as I call it. They jump the shark. One thing that's happened to a lot of people recently is they've investigated their community too much. And when they've investigated their community too much, they go to houses. I never experienced this in my life till recently. A person called me to investigate their home. I went to their home. Did not even think to say, "Has anybody else been here?" Didn't even think about it, right? Because when I was talking to the person, they're like, "Hey, yeah, nothing's here. This is, it's crazy." And then all of a sudden, I'm talking to the person later on. They're like, "Oh, another team came here." I was like, "Excuse me? I need to know that information." But that's not on her. That's on me. I should have said, "Hey, has any other team been here?" So my number one rule first is I want to know everything about what's going on with the family. I want to know everything that's going on with the relationships in the in the area, right? I want to know as much knowledge as I can. Some people some mediums are like, "No, I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know anything. I just want to sit there, smoke my cigarette, and have fun time, right? And just get in my head, right?" Me, I want to know everything I can because we're there to help the people. Paranormal investigators are there to help the people. They're not there to get championship belts. If we want to get championship belts, you should be a wrestler, right? And that's how I feel about it. The same people who do mediumship and intuitive work, and they say, "Oh, I'm going to charge you $200-$300." That's some people's pay. You know what I mean? Like in this day and age, especially. So, and I've been that guy, and I had to pay for it because I was like, "This is how much I have to charge. I have to do overhead, and I have to do all this other stuff, right?" And you can't bring it back down because when you bring it back down, they're like, "Why did you go down? What happened?" Right? People start asking questions. They start going all kind of stuff. So you have to be aware of what you're doing in this field. People like, how do I work as an individual and have my own thing? And because I was under the impression for so long, this is how it has to be. right? This is how it has to be. If it's not like this, then I can't do it, right? I can't do it. And so it took me a long time. Thank God for my wife. Thank God I got married and stopped my crazy ass ways. Because she's the one who came in and was like, you just got to be you. And if you're not you, just like David said too, if you're not you, then who the hell are you? If you don't know who you are, then how the hell are you going to know who everybody else is? Definitely how the hell are you going to talk for the dead or those who are passed, right? And if you do, you don't have to do it all the time. That's why people don't understand. Mediums are like, oh, I speak for the dead. And I've told Howard this, I've told Elaine this, I've told Nick this, I've told Jason this. The dead don't talk to me a lot. They come in, that's what they do. Blue, red, green. And then give me a big finger in the face. That's what they'll do. And they'll play a game with me. Some people are like, oh, my name is John. I died in Washington, D.C. I loved flamboyant roses and things. And people get that. My ass, I don't get that. So that's why I'm the eccentric medium, right? And the intuitive storyteller. It's hard to understand. And I give Howard credit every Sunday because I wouldn't have that one bit of hour and a half, whatever it is, to work and do this and have people out there who I think we're helping. I mean, I feel like people are being helped by what we're doing and they're getting insight and learning and, they're not falling into the trap of paying $1,000. Like I just paid off my classes that I took 4 years ago. Right. That's hard. I mean, I learned a lot, right? But there's other ways to do it. There's other ways you can learn how to be. If you need to have structure as a person, then you're going to pay for it. Just like if you go to university, you're going to pay for it. It's going to be there. We have some great communities here in Mississippi. Soul Synergy has some great teachers and some great instructors. But if that's not your thing, that's not your thing. My problem was I thought I had to have it one way because I was a school person. I had to learn one thing, right? Investigators the same way. Do y'all feel like that? Like if you go, Howard, you've investigated with different people. Eileen, you've investigated with different people. Nick, you've investigated with different people, right? Have y'all experienced that?
Somewhat, yeah. I have.
Yeah.
So it's, and you get these people who are weekend warriors, and you don't want to knock people for understanding. Like my dad used to say, people have lives besides what you think, right? A mother has 3 kids, right? And she gets 2 hours on a Saturday to go, be out. You have to respect that. You have to respect that people have a life as investigators, as holistic workers. And a lot of people don't, and I learned this when I was an actor, boundaries. In the paranormal world, I've seen a lot of boundaries get crossed, especially with marriages and relationships. I'm not even talking about inappropriate, like, the whole thing. I'm talking about just boundaries of time. You don't call me at 4:00 in the morning, right? Unless you
Howard.
get a $500 check.
Yeah, Howard, don't call me at 4:00 in the morning.
Who's calling who at 4:00 in the morning? I am shit. You ain't getting me call you up at 4:00 in the morning.
Morning you can call.
I barely want to call you now.
But if you call me, we just have to realize that people have to come together and understand there are rules. And that's one thing, I was lucky to be on a few teams where there were rules. And so I go in some things, I'm just like, they're not rules. There's no guideposts. Like, y'all just go out and do this shit. And it's great on certain levels, right? It's like free reign, you're like in 1880s, right? And you're just like, woohoo, let's go ride some horses. And if you haven't seen 1880 on Paramount Plus, you're missing out. But doing what I do, I had to say, okay, if I'm going to do it, I have to do it my way. And everybody else, I got really upset. I auditioned for a paranormal show not too long ago. And I was like, all my intuitive friends, everybody was like, you're going to get this. This is yours. This is yours and the money. You're going to be on TV. Like every one of my intuitive friends down the fucking line, right? I'm talking about people that we all respect, Howard, and know, right? Like all these people down the line, right? And I called, I think I might have reached out to a few people we also know. And so it's like, I'm an entertainer. I'm an enlightener, right? But I don't see how this is going to work. And I was trying to explain to people how I do cards. Well, on the film, it sucked, right? In the film, it sucked. Like you can't just manifest that. It has.
Well, you already have one fan right there. It's Irene's, of course. She says she loves watching this, watching you, and you bring great energy to the program, and it's beautiful.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You know, we're trying to do beautiful things in not so beautiful world. You know what I mean? It's right now, especially if we can bring some light and love into the world. Lord God, let us do it, please. You know what I mean? I know a lot of this investigation is being hampered because of, New Orleans has the mask mandate that just came back in. And a lot of people don't realize it's dangerous. If you have a mask on and like you're going in and you're investigating certain places and, we just have to be really careful. And it's hard. When I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, it's hard to tell people this is how things are now. As a paranormal investigator, as an intuitive, as a medium, as it has to be this way.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting over that too. Like I'll be doing the show, I'll be like, oh shit, I can't say that. I'll be like, why can't I say that? I can say that. I can say that if I want to say that. But because I was a talent manager for so long, I was an actor. I am an actor, entertainer. I have what I call my insulation, things that have protected me. So I'm not going to say something that's like, oh, that will get you canceled next week. You know what I mean? I'll make jokes about it. It's scary about what's going on in the industries and all these paranormal investigators. They can say, I don't want to be on TV. I don't want to do this and none of that. When E calls or when whatever calls, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, hey, we got to go be on tape. Hey, and Eileen can tell you because you've been on one of the hottest documentaries there is. And I'll be honest, I have not seen that documentary yet. I like to be honest. But one of the hottest things ever. Eileen, how many people call you in a month saying, oh, we should have to do this and that together after that hit? Just tell them.
Not so much now because I've tried to distance myself from it. But at the beginning, yes.
Why did you try to? Now, here's a question. Everybody needs to hear this. Okay. Why did you try to distance yourself from it?
Because I want to be Eileen Jones, the paranormal investigator and the friend, not Eileen Jones from the film.
Right. So.
That's why she has backdoor paranormal.
Right. So here's the question. Why do you? So if they said, if you said, I'm just, I appreciate for what it is, right? Mm-hmm. I appreciate for what it is. And what it's done for me. And this is the first rule of actors. I appreciate the film for what it did for me. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily I've had friends say it's not necessarily my best work, but I met 5 people on it that got me 5 jobs that allowed me to buy my house. You know what I mean? Like, people have certain things they need to do in this field.
Darren, I haven't met the right 5 people. Where are those 5 people?
Right here.
I think, and I could be wrong, but I think one of the main things is that you have to find a right chemistry. You have to find it right. And I told Howard this. Howard might be upset when one of the first conversations I had with Howard, I probably jumped down his throat because I was like, you got to have this, that, these, and those. Right? We were talking about acting, and now Howard's doing acting stuff. It's crazy how the world turns around, right? And how it does. And like I said, I'm now, working customer service for, a streaming service, and I'm getting more people wanting appointments. I'm like, I'm working 72 hours a week. I don't have time. I have Sunday, and that's it.
you called me and asked if I was looking for anybody on my team, and I just like my team to be really small.
Right.
And I'm still kind of new running, even though the team was already developed. I'm still kind of new at running it. Well, Howard was looking for someone, and I figured y'all would be a great fit. So I was like, y'all two need to talk to each other, because I knew that with me, I wasn't going the way that you probably wanted to go in your paranormal life. But Howard, on the other hand, and I knew with your craziness and Howard's craziness, y'all would be a good fit.
So a lot of people see me on TV and then see me investigate, and it's two different things. Because I come from the theater world, and I come from the world of where you have to learn that less is more. On TV, on this, it's great. Like, I'll be loud, I'll sing and everything. And as a medium who gets who can do voices and stuff, and I'll sometimes do voices and everything. Or you might see me grab my jaw or something. Like, I was doing an investigation probably about 8 months ago with a fellow investigator. And the first thing we were in a trap house. And the first thing that started happening was my mouth started just grabbing up and tensing up like this, like somebody was fiending, right? Like, there was like, right? And I said that to the investigator, which is number one rule you don't do, because you want people to have their own, thing. But you also don't want to look like you're, going crazy. And I already look like I'm going crazy if I'm in a 3-piece suit and you see somebody grinning, like that. So it's very, it's important, like I said, to stand for what you believe in and investigate how you investigate. Before I investigate anywhere, I talked to them for about 3 or 4 hours on the phone. I had a girl who called me and she was like, I want you to come investigate my house. And she called me and called me and called me. I was like, listen, this is not for me. I can tell you right now. I called Howard. I said, Howard, we might have a house that we're going to. I have no idea what it's about, but I think it's more about team-wise than individual Suits Healy time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think we just have to look at the world we're living at, how we work together. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to get back to this. I forgot to. I'm your host, Howard Pitre. Of course, we have Eileen Jones and we have Mr. Nick Mueller, our host. And we have a special host.
Hey, you called me on.
Jeremy York. He's on tonight. And our guest tonight is David Suits Healy.
David Suits Healy.
Seth-David Suits Healy. So, and also I wanted to say, if you haven't, we are promoting also every show we try to is Save Waverly Hills. If you go to the website, Save Waverly Hills, I don't know if they're still doing it for $25 donation. You get a nice shirt.
Put the website on the chat because I'm still 7 more days. I'm in Facebook jail. 7 more days. But put it in the chat for me.
I might eat biscuits right now. He might not be busy.
Do you have a banner?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Look at David starting some stuff in here. Look, he's over here. It says Eileen stands in the corner.
Oh, Leanne.
Yeah, thanks,
Leanne.
Leanne
Just put the link on the chat.
Yeah, Leanne's the sweet one.
Yes, she is.
Well, and Denise, but I can't really call Denise.
Ernie.
There's Ernie.
And then and then he says David Childress says he doesn't like me for some reason now. Because I call him Pimp Daddy. He's Pimp Daddy.
Now, I do want to know, has Denise made Ernie any biscuits lately?
Ernie says he's sweet too.
Sorry, that coffee must have went down the wrong way.
Well, let's get back to Mr. Suits here and let's talk about him. Now he laughs. Now he loves me, evidently.
Now, Seth, I know before, when I first met you, before I knew anything about you being in the paranormal world, what shows were you on? More television, movies? What were you on more of?
I did a lot of background work in Los Angeles, and then before that, I grew up in the theater. I went to St. Joseph Catholic High School here in Madison, and then I went to school when I was going to be a priest, and that's a long story. But I went to school in Winona, Minnesota, where they know what cold is, like the cold that's about to come down from Isabella. Or Izzy. And then my father told me, he said, if you get an agent and manager, then you can go to LA. And that meant I wasn't going to LA. That was the thing. And my mom has always been a huge advocate of mine, and I'm ever grateful for my grandparents that took me in and raised me. And so they said, well, you find it and we'll fork it out. You do the opportunities, you take advantage of the opportunities. And so I did a lot of these competitions, and I met like the casting director for Fox at the time, Christian Kaplan. I met all these different people. And this is around the time of Devil Wears Prada. So I'm just giving you a little time frame. My first audition ever, I was sick as hell, and I auditioned for Devil Wears Prada for Christian Kaplan. So then when I went there, I went to a thing called MATC, Millie Lewis, which is a huge talent convention. And that's where I met Christian. And so then people there were like, you need to go to London and Ireland, because I said that's where I could go in a year's time to train and to study. And they're like, go, and then don't graduate. That's what they said, not Christian, not them, but just other people. And come out to LA. And I was like, okay, my dad's not going to go for that. So how about this? How about I graduate and then come out? And they were like, okay, whatever. You'll be fine. So I went back out to LA. And when I landed from London, I had about 6 or 7 calls from a mom and pop talent management firm saying we're doing this convention. I don't know how they got my number, but I met this manager there, and she said, I'll give you $100 a week to come intern for me. And I did that, and I was like, oh my God, I love this. And she taught me how to be a talent manager. And then became acting coach and, all this other stuff. And I opened my own firm. And then tragedy hit. My pop passed away about 8 years into it. And I had to move back to Mississippi. And my whole life changed. It's so funny to tell people I was in California, and I never touched the paranormal. I was in the capital of the paranormal, metaphysical world, right? And never touched it. And I came home, and I was at a comic book store called Comic Book Commander, which no longer exists. My friend Zuga said there's this paranormal team. This is how I know David Childers, that goes out to Rodney. They're going out to Rodney coming up, and you should go. And so I got on and I started talking to some other people that were there, the lead. And I show up to Rodney with a suit on. This is right. They'd never seen me before. Never seen me. I'm wearing a coat, a suit. I have a trench coat on. I've got a cane. I think I might even have a camera.
Mac Daddy in that sucker, man.
That's where I met David Childers.
I'm sorry, but go ahead.
So now the paranormal. That's how I got back into the paranormal. And then I started investigating. And when I got ghost sick, about 4 years into it, when I got ghost sick, I took a long break, met a girl, then took another long break, and then got back into it. Met my wife in a paranormal class, in a metaphysical and mediumship class at Soul Synergy, and we were married in a year's time. So
awesome. Now you got a baby.
I took a mutual friend of ours, Michael Randall. I took him on a paranormal investigation once because I was like, well, in case he ever gets a role as an investigator, I wanted him to know how it really is done to an extent.
Yeah, Michael Randall's amazing.
I love him to death.
Yeah, he's an amazing man, amazing vet, amazing person, amazing artist. Who doesn't get enough credit for what he's done for the community in Mississippi film-wise.
Yeah, we went to college together, and yes, Howard, I went to college. We went to college together, and
prostitution school doesn't count.
I know. I had to learn how to like figure out how to make David some money, But Yeah, so I found out that he does exotic pets, and that's how after years after college, we ran back into each other because he became my vet for my
Right.
exotic animals.
So, Jeremy, you still with us, brother?
Yep,
Me?
I'm still here.
You want to ask some questions, or you got any questions you want to ask?
I'm just enjoying the stories that he's telling us.
Okay.
My wife gonna kill me. She's like, "You took over a show for 30 minutes. Howard invited you to a show and you took the whole damn thing over." I'm gonna get so much shit, Howard. It's not even
Oh
funny.
no, this is about you. I mean, the show is about you. It's you. You're the
It's
guest.
about you, yeah.
Like,
You want to know everything.
no
What
one's gonna
SOP
come
you
on
use? I
this
mean,
show
what,
ever
do
again.
you,
Like,
do you scrub your toilets, or do you let them soak? I mean, we want to know everything.
we don't talk about toilets.
Go to your wife and go, I want to talk about me. I want to talk about I.
Yeah.
So
Well, I do want to put this out there, Suits. I have watched almost all of your shows since we started up, and you are definitely one of the more entertaining personalities that we have on this network. So I am proud to have you to be
Yes.
a part of us.
Yeah.
well, thank you. Well,
I
I
love
would
the singing. Singing.
Eileen Howard. They're the reasons why. So, my I was because I wanted to have my studio up. Like I said, I come from Hollywood, the Hollywood way of living, and Eileen knows this. First impressions are everything. So if you don't look, if you don't have the right setup, a producer will just turn away and be like, "Nope, tomorrow, mate, come back when you have the right lights and the right setup." I've got 5 other people with you who spent thousands of dollars on the setup. I mean, I've seen it happen. I've been in the room when it's happened. Like, you're telling me that they couldn't go out and buy a $10 shirt? I mean, I've seen it, and it's sad. And that's what the industry's come to. Acting industry, paranormal industry, people just think that, COVID hit, right? Before COVID, if you would have said, "Oh, I'm going to have a ring light," they would be like laughing at you. They would laugh your ass out of the room. They'd be like, now you go to Best Buy. They have cheap ring lights. They have lights that break after 5 minutes, right? They have the real expensive ring lights that break after like 2 days, and then they real expensive lights that break after 1 day. I mean, it's a new day. It's a new world that we're living in.
Well, and people are just cruel anyways, because I mean, I just remember that right after the film came out, we used to just go have fun on paranormal investigations. I mean, serious but fun.
Right.
And sometimes people would be bored. My old team would be bored, and someone would call me at 7:00 and 7:30 at night saying, "Hey, do you want to go investigate?" Sure. When? Oh, in about 20 minutes. Okay, well, I don't have time to get ready, go, because who cares if you got hair, makeup, all that done.
Right.
And this one specific incident, so we went on location, went and did this investigation, took a selfie afterwards about 12:30, 1 in the morning. Didn't care what I looked like. That photo got posted on one of the local Facebook pages.
Right.
And this one person came on the Facebook page. Now, keep in mind, this is down in the country. So I'm like, don't take it at heart too much. But someone came on and made a comment about my appearance and how I represent Mississippi, because I had no makeup on. I had short hair then. It was just kind of brushed, nothing fancy.
You did a good job then.
Huh?
You did a good job then. You really represented Mississippi.
No.
And I mean, they literally started dogging me. And my old team member I didn't know about it, but never even defended me, or anything. And I mean, when I found out about it, it had been like months later, and it really hurt.
Yeah, no, it does hurt. Like, it's.
I mean, because I was just out to have fun. I wasn't doing it for appearance. And then the investigation was right after filming, but before the release.
Right.
But of course, the photo got posted after the release, and I was like, "Why are you so cruel?"
There's and I had a friend who I did a reading for, and this was private reading, right? Private. private reading, right? Private reading. And so I do all my readings via Zoom. I had to adapt with COVID. I have a 1-year-old, and plus I just do it better now. Like my deep dives, like I channel for like 3 weeks, and then I give you a lecture for about 2 hours. And so I was like, we're Zoom. And she's like, you're not going to see me. I was like, why? She's like, I don't know if this will ever be out, ever. And my team, quote unquote, has advised me, quote unquote, to have a social media presence that is this. This is what is happening with the industry. You have teams of people who know what the hell they're doing, right? But like, now you might not realize this, Eileen, but as a talent manager now, you have in your head maybe where I have to look like the nines every time I go out. If Eileen, I'm saying where if you're doing a show, right, or if you're promoting something, right? Say y'all are doing a show for Waverly. Let's just say, let's give it out, right? Someone would come up to you and Howard and Jeremy and Nick and be like, y'all gotta look like y'all on that movie. That's why they're coming. That's why they're here. That's how the industry is. David Childers can talk about this. People, and Brad can talk about it as well. If you don't look like what the people want and see, they'll turn on you. They'll see you in a heartbeat. I have friends who won't change their hair color because they're not even like celebrities, quote unquote, but because their fan base maybe just like this, right? But it's their fan base, and they're loyal as hell. And like I said, they're the reason why they have a house, right? The old adage in acting, you could have brown hair and that could screw you in an audition. It's the truth. Cast Richard could say, hey, that reminds me of my boyfriend and my girlfriend. Don't want him back. Right? If my dad used to say, don't give him a reason. And he wasn't even an actor. He was like, don't give him a reason. Come in, be ready. Always. And that's one reason why I'm in suits all the time, too. I'm always in a suit. If I'm in a professional setting, right? If you see me in an investigation, I'm in a suit. Always.
Yeah, they always want you to update your profiles and everything when these casting companies and everything. I mean, you have to give a headshot with no makeup, no filters, no nothing, and then you have to have a full body shot.
That's background, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have to send in if you gain weight, lose weight, whatever. If you get a star on you, you got to cut. All that shit has to be sent in.
Right. I mean, and it's great. It's great work. It's people make a living being background actors, and it's great. It's a great learning experience. If you want to be an actor, I say do it for 2 years, maybe 3. Make that money, put it away, get a really good set of headshots, and then work a job where you can make a lot of damn money really quick. Get a camera, get the equipment, and start making shorts, because that's where the world's headed now. Nowhere else. That's where the world's headed. People making their own stuff. Y'all's movie's a perfect example. Y'all's thing's a perfect example. So you have to be aware. So you have to be aware of it. If you're not, then let me clock out my work. Hold on real quick.
Yeah, because right now the world is headed towards where all they want is entertainment and nothing else. So that is definitely where the money is going to be coming in, whether it's movies, TV shows, music, literature, things like that.
You have to be aware. I mean, people think that being in a paranormal team, right? And David Childers asked me how I like Rodney. Earlier, when I first got there, it's something you look at and you see and you're like, oh my God, it's Rodney. It was going to be the capital of our state for a long time. People don't realize that. And I saw one of the scariest things there at Rodney I think I've ever seen in my life. I was with Trey Birch. I don't know if y'all know Trey. He's probably one of the best investigators I have ever encountered. One of the greatest investigators. He doesn't investigate much anymore, I don't think, but and do give a fuck to help. And do give.
Don't worry about David. Just
I know David Childers. I remember when he used to wear the.
I was going to say,
don't you worry.
Yeah, but you don't know. David's changed, though. Since you met him. Now
David's got stuck up on him.
Yeah, he's smoking the crack and everything else. And he's wearing.
In the field, when you've done what you've done, you can say this too. Howard, you can say this too. When you've done what you've done, right? And actors the same way. You've gone this far, this far, this far, this far, this far, right? I know some shit. I do. David knows some shit. He knows that's a fucking waste of time. I'm not doing that. Elaine would be like, give me 5. I need to know 5 things. 1, when's the last time you had your pipes cleaned? 2nd time, when's the last time the toilet? 3rd time, when's the last time you had a house inspection? These are questions. And
these pipes are clean.
So, Seth, as soon as you said that I saw Howard's face, I'm so sorry.
All right.
He went the Howard way on that one.
I had to put a toilet reference in there somewhere.
But, yeah, that went several ways in my brain.
But you have to. These are things that investigators don't know, and that these new investigators don't know. They think, "Oh my God, I watched the Dead Files," and they don't actually do the research of what the Dead Files does, like really do, or they don't understand that ghost hunting. The reason why it was called ghost hunting was because people in the studio got together and were like, "Hey, you know what? We're going to go hunt something." Yeah, you tell a ghost you're going to go hunt something. I've been there. I've seen it. I was in an investigation. I've told Howard this story. I think I said it on the show last time. I was getting ready, and every team I've been with has been, we're going to hunt. We're going to go out there and hunt, right? That's what we're going to do, right? We're going to go hunt. And I was with some investigators one time. They're like, that's just play. We're investigators. And so we were getting ready to go and, clock in, quote unquote. And I heard a spirit, clear as day, say, "You want to hunt what you cannot see?" And my creative vigor, my third eye showed me Predator. Remember y'all seen Predator? Right. Zoom, zoom. You've never seen Predator?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm talking about David's comment. I'm telling Howard no. No, I'm talking about David's comment. Telling Howard
no. Wait a second. You've never seen Predator?
No, I got Predator.
I was about to say the same thing. You've never seen Predator?
No, she's been messaging me ever since David asked for the first time. Now he's asking again.
So anyway, so I saw that in my third eye, and I got on the radio right then and there, and I said, "Guys, I don't know about y'all, but we're investigators. We're not hunters." And so every time I hear somebody say hunting, and because I've done research on people on those reasons why they called themselves ghost hunters, it was a thing in the people who, when they sold the show, hunting, right? It was new, but people love hunters. They love hunting. They love that experience, right? How many hunters do we have in the South? Ton, right? What's their demographic? Middle America. If you watch every paranormal show, Middle America is their demographic, right? Right. So, what would you, if you said ghost investigation?
Yeah.
That's New York. That's Baltimore. That's DC. Maybe that's parts of like. But if you say hunting, guess what's going to happen? People be like, "Wait, we're going hunting? Wait, hunting?
That's Mississippi, though.
We got
no hunting.
We go hunting out there. We don't right. So, and I don't know if that's exactly how it was said and done. Like I've seen different people say different things about how that term came around, but it would make sense. It would make a lot of sense. And now people are like stressing holistic work, investigators, right? You have to have a title though. And Childers can talk about this. Eileen, you can talk about this. If you have a title that does not sell, you will not sell. And then you waste money and you waste time.
Eileen's got the perfect one. She's backdoor paranormal.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Y'all.
No, I like to work. I mean, I like to always say I'm going on a paranormal investigation because it's not always just ghosts. I agree. We're not hunting anything. I mean, every now and then it'll slip depending on who I'm talking to, but we're not hunting anything. And it's not just spirits, it's paranormal. I mean,
Right.
Not, you know. So that's why I always like to say I'm going on a paranormal investigation.
Yeah,
But if
because
you look,
paranormal covers a
most
wide
everything,
range of stuff out there.
what'd you
Do
say,
what,
Jeremy?
I was saying that the
What was that? What was that,
paranormal,
Jeremy?
like what Eileen was saying, the paranormal covers a very wide range of whatever is out there.
Yep.
And so you have to be
Urban legends as well.
right. And then the like I saw something the other day on is it Kindred Spirits, which if you want to see a show how a show can be filmed, right, and have a certain quality of how things are made, like a real like there's dead time in there. There's not. They show you. I mean, I've told people, and I'm giving away. I can't give away my first episode of one if I ever do one because it's gonna be the funniest damn thing ever, just like The Simpsons. But there's more dead time in a paranormal investigation, right? And you listen to these people. If you go on and you hear all these big investigators talk about why they do these shows, it's so they can investigate these places that no one else can get into. These places are not open to the public. They're not, people. They're getting paid. They're getting paid.
That is true.
They're getting paid lots of money, right? Tax incentives. There's a reason why New Orleans, like paranormal, like people go film and shoot in New Orleans. It's called tax incentives. Besides being haunted as hell, Howard, those people when they shoot there, they get a tax incentive.
Yeah, but the sad part is that you've given them one thing. When we do these investigations, we go usually do live streaming or something like that, and we have a following and stuff. For our shows, it's around the world, and everybody's watching. Hey, this is happening in New Orleans. We're doing all this stuff, and you go to these people and you tell them, "Look, we want to come investigate it, or we want to charge you. We want to charge it $500,000. It can go up to I think the mortuary wanted to charge $3,000 just to do the mortuary, and that's crazy. I mean, you're giving them promotion, you're promoting them, you're promoting that it's haunted. More people would want to come and see it or to investigate it, and you're doing them a service, but they want to charge the shit out of you to do these services.
And I think, there's two ways you look at it here. There's two ways. One way you look at it is that people put a price on it so they don't, the old adage about investigating, right? You're doing shaving the haircut, right? And you don't, and I've been guilty of this 1,000 times over, especially when I was a younger investigator, right? You don't go look at that evidence. You're waiting for like the big flash of light or the shadow going across the wall, right?
Right.
People are over investigating places.
Yeah.
When I had when I was, opened up and doing, what I call public work is what I call it. The more appointments that I had were about people doing stupid shit. They were just doing stupid shit. And I was lucky enough to have people like Jill M. Jackson and Duane Care, say, you're gonna have this, that, these, and those. And I want to be very clear, I'm not quoting Duane or Jill M. Jackson. But you're gonna have this, that, these, and those gonna come at you. And you have to be very right. The untapped investigations are the best. You have to be very aware that some people are doing crazy things and they have issues because of the crazy things. And you can't insult them. But you might not can help them. So you have to figure out who can. And you can't charge them then either, because if you can't fix it, right? You can't fix it. You can't ask somebody to pay $50 to me, right? And then I'm going to send you somebody who pays $200, right? I'd have to send you to the person. I'd say, okay, hey, I can't do this. And I would say that. That's why I started telling people, I'll talk to you on the phone for 2 hours first before you step in my room, right? That's just the clear. The untapped investigations, they're hard to find too, because especially in Eileen, you can talk about our community, our area. It's the same fucking places over and over again, right? There's a reason David Childers moved far away.
Well, there's a reason, right? But I don't think it's paranormal.
There's a reason why he did it. You can only go. It's like dating the same person over and over again, and then you're like, well, we're not gonna get married. We're just gonna date forever and
I like that.
everything else under the yellow sun. Or, I like steak. I'm just gonna eat steak every day of my life.
Now, David, this Decent House does not do paranormal investigations anymore. They haven't for a hot minute, but they're actually closed right now due to COVID.
Which one is the Decent House? David,
that's
which
the one in Ellisville that was in the television or that movie, The Free State of Jones, where Newton Knight killed Macklemore.
I don't think I went into. David, is that the one where they hot coffee? Is that the? Y'all gotta have that story. That's a great. That's a great story. Or
yeah, but that would be the best time to do an investigation when nobody's there. You just bringing your team in. That's all you're doing.
Exactly.
No, they quit trying to advertise it as haunted.
Right.
But like I know at the Decent House, we when I was investigating it, I had laid on the floor where he was shot, and that's where he supposedly died. Well, I was with Southern Paranormals back when Doyle was still alive, and we put the FLIR on the ground. And I got up one time, and you could see my body heat kind of went away after a while. But then I did it again, and it stayed on there for a good 10, 15 minutes. I mean, we left the room, came back, and you could still see the form of a body.
Right.
So, I mean, I've not ever seen one last that long. But then we've had, like, REM pods in every room go off. We saw stuff on cameras. But, yeah, they quit doing that part of it.
Have you ever got all three of you, or all four of you, excuse me, is there an investigation? Is there a house or a place that you will not go ever again, where you're just like, nope, not doing it?
Yep.
Not yet for me.
Yep.
I mean, there was one that was very intense, but I never said I wouldn't go back.
So one thing that I have seen a lot in my 18, 19 years doing this, whatever, however long I've been doing it since I was young, and then I did it afterwards, is that a lot of people get addicted to it, and it's worse than a drug. It's and that's why you have so many teens, and then you have these people. It's like I tell my wife, it's worse than the acting world, because people start saying shit about this, they start saying shit about this, and it's no longer about either the history. You have two types of paranormal people: people who are there for the history, and people there who are there to help people, right? It's true. Like, some people really want to know. Like, there's a house. David would know this. The one in Vicksburg, the one where all the shit went crazy, where they've investigated it so much that
I love the
mad upstairs. Like,
is it the McNutt house that David loves? Is it the McNutt house that David loves that you're talking about?
David, it's where the Wiccan ceremony was. He'll know without putting stuff out there. So
I like the Duff Green Mansion. That's the one I like.
It's a big white house, and it has, like, you can stay down these little quarters down the bottom. But anyway, people are investing. Going back to what you said, Howard, about people wanting to pay. There are some people who put a price tag on it, so they're not investigated like extreme.
No, I'm about to say he said a house, not the hospital.
It's
Coon
no, David.
Hospital.
It's the big white house where. Oh,
That's what I was wondering if he was talking about the
McNutt?
McNutt house.
yeah, that's, no, the governor's house, right? The old governor's house.
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay. So, anyway, people are investigating these places and not knowing what the hell they're doing. So, Howard, as much as I don't think, paying $3,000 to investigate a place. Now, if you have 10 people pay $3,000, right, in a month's time, right, that's 10. So how many people on a team usually? Depend. And let's not even talk about like the studio, like network heads. Let's not talk about PAs. Let's not talk about
Actual people going in, actual investigators.
Right. All these things. There's a reason why they're charging $3,000 because they have to pay for they have to make some kind of profit. Right. And they're also securing, some of the people who own these houses do it out of respect. They're like, nope. If they do this, they're going to ruin it. They're going to ruin everything.
I agree with some of these locations. Now, I do believe that some of these locations, their prices are astronomical.
Right.
But I mean, they still got to keep the power going, the water going, the light. I mean,
and safety.
Charge reasonable prices, then you get more investigations going on. More people will come and investigate, and more word of mouth out there, and especially in the paranormal world. We talk about everything. Everybody passes it on to the next person.
Yeah, now my favorite places. I mean, like I said, 300. Something like that. That's fine, depending on the size of the location. But yeah, when you're talking thousands of dollars, it does get. But then you do take more teams, but
right. If you take and there's no one that governs these paranormal teams, and this is like I was talking about this with Reiki the other day. There's no one that over governs Reiki, right? Just like there's.
Just keep going.
All right. Well, he secures corner. He puts people in the corners like Twitch.
He runs off all the clients,
but
because they see him coming.
But I will say this about David now, and he might get pissed off at me because I might be ruining his street cred. One of the sweetest, like when it comes down to the shit, right? One of the sweetest guys that you'll ever meet. Like, if you had a problem. If we had a problem in the paranormal world right now, right? If something was like, or say I had an audition for a show, right? And David knew the producers, right? If I wasn't right for that show, he would tell me. He would not make me waste my time, right? Like, people don't do that anymore. They're like, whatever, man, do you, right? When people reach out and they actually, you have a certain, and Eileen, like we talked about this earlier, you have certain heat on you because of a show that you did, a movie that you did, right? They did something very, very different at the time. And then what happened? Another team came in and did another show, and they did a lot. The Sleepless Unrest, right? If you look at the two,
well, they're
right?
the same producers.
I haven't seen y'all's movie, but
it's the same producers.
It's the same producers.
Mm-hmm.
They know it works. So they know that telling an investigation, how an investigation is, like, right, showing people going to sleep in an investigation, right, and then waking up at 4:00 in the morning and be like, "What was that?" Right? That's a thing, right? Or you're taking down your cameras, and then all the cameras fall, and you're like, "What the? Huh?" I mean, when you first start off as an investigator, much like in the film world, you have to learn how to take shit down. You have to learn how to build sets. Best piece of advice I ever got in the theater world. Learn how to build it, so if it breaks, you can fix it. Same thing with investigation. If you want to be on my team, you're putting everything up. I've already done it. Your turn. If it fucks up, that's on you. I've already done it. So, and when you see that stuff's already coming off and falling off at the end, and people have been checking and securing it, Like, that's evidence. People take evidence, and we have to be more aware of what we're doing as investigators. We have to be more aware of teams, how they work. If there's a place that you really want, if there's a place you really want to investigate and it's too expensive, say, hey, all right, let's figure this out. Where there's a will, there's a way. Mm-hmm. And you can do it. You can do it. It's possible. And they may say no, but you can also say, hey, it's about to be 40 below in this state, and guess what? No one's going to investigate that building. You can make $500 right now. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways. If they have a line, that's not good. It's not going to be. But in this field, you have to be proactive, right? This station's a perfect example. There was an opening. It was filled, right? You take a ship and you start sailing to some bitch. Mm-hmm. It's going to get somewhere. Now, the ship might fall in the ocean. It might sink. But guess what? Some of the ship's going to get to the island. Investigations are the same way. Some investigations are going to go great. They're going to be awesome. You're like, woohoo, yeah. And then some of them will be like, that was a waste of my damn 3 hours. How am I going to defend this to my wife? With a yelling kid. It's the truth.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about your show.
Okay.
For people who haven't seen it, can you describe your show and what do you do on your show?
So it's called Sunday Pursuits. And so what we do is we have my modality is cards. And I am an entertainer, an enlightener, an educator. And I try my best to let the people, feel a connection with spirit. Not just spirit here, but spirit there, right? I'll give you an example. Let's see. So people always want to know about love. They want to know about life. They want to know about finances, right? And one of the things I've learned as an intuitive and as a medium is that a message for you might be a message for your friend as well. And that you have to just listen and let spirit come in. And you have to be connected to source in a way that allows you a connection where it's insulated. I think that's the most important thing. And one thing I stress in my shows is that you have an insulated energy around you. If you're a Christian, I call it Christ Light, Archangel Michael, Raphael, Metatron, right? Protection. And Greg does this on Ghostbox Live as well. Protection, safety. So my show is all about giving you insight into your internal self. And so we do it with the fun way. So we have a show part called Inside the Box. We do a lot of singing. We do a lot of different things. But let's just see, right? So if I can have, how many people we got watching right now, Howard?
8.
We got 8. So if you want a question answered, right? Shoot up a question for them, right? And send out your energy.
That's 9.
9.
It fluctuates. It goes up and down, up and down. That's the way we.
So I feel like there's a one.
David
always
wants to know if he's
is.
going to be
Yep.
bald the rest of his life, or would that hair transplant work? Sorry, had to.
He wants to know. He's asking a serious question. He wants to know: does he have an attachment?
Okay. Yes. So embrace your inner child, new friends or rekindle relationships, children or childhood. And what this tells me here, as you can see here, there's 2 people. So the attachment is coming in a situation where you are having something from childhood. Now, David probably thinks maybe that it is something from an investigation. what happened, David, in my belief, and again, this is all open for interpretation, as everything is with spirit, is that something happened during an investigation that rekindled something that was already dormant inside you. And so what that happened is you gave it a fire, and it's feeding on it, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if that attachment continues to grow as it is, eventually it's going to possibly leave you weak in the knees. I'm feeling there's a lot of lower back problems going on right now. There's something with the head right in here. They're telling me to use a lot of yellow force energy, creative energy. Maybe wear yellow. Also, your new home is talking about like planting stuff outside, like flowers, protective flowers, and talking to the home, because the home is trying to protect you and trying to keep you safe. Does that resonate at all?
He didn't. He wants to know about his love life. How does it stand? But I have another one before him. Amory Young. I'd like to know the same about if she has an attachment.
So attachments to me are like, you know, when you say, oh, that person's hot or that person's ugly, right? So many people have talked about attachments. They've seen so many damn movies, from Insidious to, you know, Candyman to every horror movie, every paranormal show. They're like, oh my God, listen, you have an attachment. I always want to know where the hell it's attached to. My ass? Is it going to be in the toilet that Howard likes to clean? Is that where the attachment goes? When my first times I was ever in a class, I had a teacher tell me that he really and literally shat out a attachment. At the time, I was like, that's bullshit. And I still think that's a little bit of bullshit. But people get rid of things their own way. So you have to find a way to get rid of attachments.
David said he was totally accurate.
Well, so yes, you have attachments.
Denise has a good question here. How's our court case going to?
Yeah.
So
Well, we still got.
Go ahead.
Look, you see that? There's another person. This is the 6 of Michael. There's a better course of action available to you. Working alone may not be the best answer. Review all the details. So your attachment comes from communication. And if you don't feel like you're heard, it gets stronger. It feels like this person was a higher up in their job or in a spiritual setting. The attachment came willingly. You sort of let it on because you thought it would get you one place and it's getting you another. And so it could be affecting chest area a lot. Like I feel like armor is pressed up against you like this, right? So it could feel like, if you see it here in the picture, if you see that, it's Archangel Michael. So that shows me the armor. So the armor, and his wings are spread out wide, but he's showing me there's a confinement to you. So a lot of chest pains, a lot of coughing, and you're working in a certain way where you have to know the details. If you don't know the details, then that can put you in danger. So the devil's in the details is a reason why they say that. You have to look at the world that you're in and see, okay, this is how it's working. This is why it's working this way. And find a way to remove that attachment. I don't think it's I don't think it's like it's a spiritual attachment. I think it's more of an energetic attachment, more like poltergeistic, at least. That's not a word. That's a Suitsy word. A poltergeistic word attachment, where you have created the attachment. There's something else there. Hello from Canada. Hello from the goat.
I got another question here. This is from Denise Pack, and this is about Waverly Hills. She wants to know how's our court case going.
How the Waverly is going to go?
Yeah, for Waverly Hills.
Law? You want me to talk about law? Okay. Let's see what the cards say. And this is an insulated deck. And I tell people when they're first starting in the paranormal, and a lot of people don't like using card decks in the paranormal world investigation, but I feel like these are insulated. anything with angels, fairies, and that kind of stuff is insulated, and you're not going to have, oh, you piece of shit on it, right? You're going to have, oh, you're going to see things, you're going to receive things, right? So we got the will. And so what that tells me is everything's in motion right now. There's new beginnings, end of delays, a change in direction that offers happiness. Now, happiness for you is going to be a little bit different in the case of what you think. Okay? It's not like, oh, I've got happiness. I've got happiness. It's right here today. I've got happiness. Let us fucking play. It's not, that's not. It's more about you looking at how you're going to spend those wills in the right direction. And when you spend them in the right direction, right, and that's all up to you. You've got to spend them in the right direction. You've got to, it's just like watching 1883. If you're pushing a thing, right, and you don't push it the right way and you don't fucking listen and you stop in the middle of a river, you're going to fucking sink. So you have to be aware. You got to keep going. This may be something that you might have to let go of if it's going to impede your happiness, your humanity. That's the key. Your humanity is what's important here. And what it tells me is I see a distance. You're looking at one thing and you're looking at another. And you may have opportunities to, and I'll be first, I don't know all about what's going on with this. Right? As my dad would say, that's none of my damn business. But I do see this. I see one viewpoint here, and they're asking you to look on the other viewpoint and say, I might not agree with so-and-so and so-and-so on this, that, these, and those, but if I was to play devil's advocate and I had to be on their side, on the other side, what could I see? Does that make sense? There's a lot of silence on the paranormal team.
Denise?
Yeah.
It makes sense to me. I mean, but I wanted to see what Denise had to say about it.
It does. My opinion, too. Yeah. Still there, Denise?
She's like, that guy, that crazy son of a bitch.
He ain't said what I wanted him to say. How's he going to go?
Oh, there she is. There she is. Well, the other side is for all of idiots.
And then she give a little.
Here's the thing. If you look at the other side of idiots, you have to realize at one time you were an idiot too. We're always idiots. A lot of us are idiots on different levels. I'm saying, look at what they're saying, right? Look at what you're saying. Like I said, I have no idea what this is about. It could be about cats and dogs. No idea, right? None of my damn business. But you got to figure out how, if you have to be on their side in any capacity, if you get in a room and there's a table, because I see a table and I see you talking about something, you can't be angry. You can't be angry. And you can't be the typical paranormal person. Well, then you have to say, you have to take your personal out of it and put your heart into it. I know that's very weird and very odd to say, but it's when you bring in Jasper, right? You bring in your grounding stone. You come in there, you sit that sumbitch down, or put it in your hand, put it in your bra, whatever you got to do, right? And you're like, all right, let's hear what your son of bitches have to say. All right, here you go.
You put out that rock and you put in a sock and you beat their ass with it.
No. We don't promote violence.
Speaking of, you should, have you ever seen Denise's EAD stones?
No.
Oh, you so need to get a EAD stone, and if you'd like, you can ask what that EAD stands for.
What does the EAD stand for? I need to know.
Eat a dick stone.
Eat a dick.
There it is.
You need to.
I have one of those stones, and it's really
Just for the record, I did not know that. Why? Hey, for the record, they put that on. All right.
Yeah,
You know what that is?
Those are really cool to have. I have one myself.
They're awesome.
I think that, you know,
I've actually been wanting to get one of those.
They're awesome.
You have to think, and this is something that, I learned as a talent manager, Ernie. One thing I learned is that you have to look at, you talk to a producer, you talk to a director, you talk to lawyers, right? Artists and lawyers. What would Oscar Wilde say? Oscar Wilde said, when artists go to dinner, they talk about money, right? That's what they do. When bankers go to dinner, they talk about artists. And that tells you something there. It's at the end, it's about something they need or they want. And if there's a way that you can give them what they want, right? Or find a way to offer a different option for them. And I can tell you right now, in this day and age, if you got on the right Twitters and everything, and you said that someone's taking an elderly person's home, right? I can tell you right now, if you got on and be like, hey, in the year that we lost Betty White, in the year we lost Sidney Poitier, in the year that we lost these people, and then we have a person who is elderly and they're losing their home and they actually live in it, right? I don't know the whole story, don't know, but I'm just saying. And you have these, well, I can tell you this, they don't want to be canceled either. So,
excuse me.
If you don't want to be canceled in this generation, you don't want to take anybody's anything. In the days of COVID and the days of protest and everything else, when a voice is heard, I am Spartacus. That's a great hashtag for it. I am Spartacus. Stand with people. Don't just make it about Waverly Hills. Make it about what it really means and why you really care about it. Not about, whatever. Like I said, I don't know anything about it. So this could get me canceled. Like, they're trying to save a person's house. You don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. That's what my wife's going to say. Exactly. I'm telling y'all right now, my wife's going to be like, you don't even know what this is about. But, you got to have strength. You got to have strength. And when you have strength, right. So, it's, thank you, David. But you have to work things out. So look at different. They want money. People want money, and they want to find ways to get in and understand. Save Waverly Hills. I am Spartacus. And you have people stand with you, and you have people talk about elderly, not Waverly Hills.
A lot of people in the paranormal field is actually have joined together. We did even a parathon where with the whole day that we were just nothing but supporting Waverly Hills, trying to raise awareness of it, and it was just about everybody working on this in the paranormal field. And I was on the show 15 hours,
right,
sitting behind doing this.
Me too. So was I.
Yeah.
I was on it for a while too.
Y'all asked me a question, right?
Right.
I had no idea, right? So, Howard, I think it's very clear because I think she thinks I'm being dismissive.
Oh, I know. Right. No. He's not being dismissive. He's just what he sees. I mean, that's what you wanted to know what he sees, and that's what he's seeing. And that's from an outside. I mean, if you have to look at it that way, it's from someone from the outside looking in. So
I apologize. I'm all about saving historical places. Waverly Hills is a name. And so people want to, and I'm just talking about, you're talking about the place there, but 1,000 investigations, right? We're talking about Waverly Hills.
Or the historic, everybody that's on their bucket list at one point, or everybody wants to be there. Wants to go there.
No, I think Ernie's comment. He's more saying, hey, you should go read about this.
You need to
on the website it tells everything about it. Because if you don't know what's going on, it had nothing to do with everything else. If you don't know what's going on,
you need to learn about
really trying to get the word out there. They want everyone to learn about it.
And his wife, Denise, she's a spread the word. Denise, they're awesome people.
Consulting or
yeah.
Nick,
What was that again? What was that again, David?
I said, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And does do that?
Yeah.
I want to be very clear before I get off this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says it.
Yeah. No, I fully understand.
Right. I want
Do you,
him. I want them to know.
Ernie, Denise, do y'all understand what he's saying? It's nothing negative towards y'all. It's not nothing that he's looking at it from the outside in. Now he wasn't aware of what's everything that's going on with Waverly and what's happening with Waverly. You ask him for an opinion and a reading, and that's what he sees. But it's not necessarily him being dismissive about it. He's trying to give you what he sees. If you understand that.
My wife is gonna have my head, Howard. She's gonna be like, "What the fuck did you do? You were doing so good, and then you had
Denise."
All right, but that's what I do on my show.
There it is. He said right there. She just answered.
Yeah,
we understand, but we want everyone to be educated, and that's why we're doing this. I mean, that's why we did the parathon. That's why we, before every show, you need to go to the site. I tell everybody, you need to go on and see www.savewaverlyhills.com and read about it. It's a damn slap in the face to anybody in the paranormal community, to be honest with you.
I've only had run-ins with one.
Yes.
I mean, one of the people that manned the location. To kind of give you an idea, like this particular person came after everyone that had anything previously to do with Waverly Hills on my Paranormal Against Missing Children website.
Right.
And literally went and blocked everyone that had anything to do with Waverly prior to all this going on. And I'm like, this website has nothing to do with what's going on at Waverly, but they went through and blocked everyone. And that's the run that I had. And I don't go live in my pajamas. I was so ticked off that day. Me and Beth Allen went live. I was in my pajamas. I was fuming that they try to attack a page that had nothing to do with it. So that's the type of people who are managing it right now.
Well, I also, one thing that my dad taught me, and I agree with what they said, tapping phone. What?
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Yep. Threatening and intimidating others.
Yeah.
Well, again, I am Spartacus, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's, there's a reason why that stands up to the test of time in film, and everybody still says it to this day, right? When everyone says, hey, you know what? And that's what they're echoing too. I should know about it. And like I've said many a times, I'm more now of a holistic worker and reader, right, than I am, and I've told Howard this, unless it's an investigation that really calls to me, right? Just because when I have a 1-year-old, right, and anybody can tell you who's had kids and knows how investigations are, you don't want to bring something home. You don't want to, that kind of stuff can ruin marriages. It can, it feeds on that stuff.
Yeah.
Some spirits are just,
right.
So you have to be very, very careful. And that's what, one thing that I feel that a lot of people aren't anymore, and that's careful. And when you have places, and this is what happens, and we talked about this earlier, investigations, right, that become popular, like Waverly Hills, like
but you see what Waverly Hills was, you had the Ernie and Denise Pack, and you had the Lescues, I think that's how you pronounce it.
And Beth Allen and
Beth Allen. These people were Waverly Hills,
right.
And these people, they made it entertaining, knowledgeable. They gave you the true stories about the spirits that are there, because they were people too. These spirits were people too, and they give you the real true stories about them. And now you got these people in there and a bunch of hypocrites where they came after the owner,
non-profit organization.
Yeah.
And they basically said, you can't do this, you can't do that. He was trying to, the elderly gentleman that had it, he was repairing the place the best he could, keeping the place up. And they came in and said, you can't do this, you can't do that, that's not historically correct and everything. And you go in there now, they put up cubicles in certain places where it was probably the most haunted locations in the places. They put up cubicles. But they don't want people to go in there and change, that's not historically correct what he was doing. But, it's whatever they want to do they're going to do it. But damn you if you try to do it, type of situation.
It's like eminent domain. Like if I know something's going to make money, right? And this is what happens in the paranormal world. If I know that this location is going to be great for film, Eileen, you can probably speak on this. If I know that they are going to I can make money on this location, right? This location's going to be great. It's going to be big. It's going to look great on camera, right? As my director friends would say. And someone hears that who say owns that location, right? It happened here. They were doing a movie and my friends owned some property, whatever, right? And my friends heard about it. They were like, oh, they're going to come in and lowball you. That's what they said. And my friend came back and he's like, I already know what you're going to offer me. I want 2 times more.
Now, this is what happened with the place. They went in, you have, like I just put up, Charlie and Tina Mattingly. They own the place. They own the building, they own the property and everything. Now, they leased out the building. I think it's like $1 a year or something like, because it was a nonprofit organization. These people basically kicked them out of their home, okay, and took over everything. It's like me coming to your house, and if it was historically on a historic site or whatever, and me walking in and saying, get the fuck out, and we're going to take over, and they're serving you papers to get out, out of your own home that you bought. Is that right?
No, it's not right. It's not right. But, you have people who think they know everything. That's just the bottom line, and they think.
I can send a link out to Ernie. Let him basically see.
Yeah, I was going to say, you should bring him on.
Yeah. Because he could explain it better than I can. I mean, I know some of the story, but not everything about it.
I mean, if someone owns it and they lease
he
it
said,
out,
he's up for coming on.
All right, I'm sending the link going to him. All right.
I don't like Ernie either. Ernie's mean to me.
Yeah, Ernie, if you could explain a little bit more to Suits. Yeah.
He didn't have legal representation because and that's what we're doing all this for. Is for him to get the money so he can have proper legal representation, get the place back, and keep it as a historic, but it's a haunted location, very very active location.
Right. I mean, people know Waverly Hills. I mean, yeah, it's a location.
We also have to remember too. Most importantly. Oh, sorry, Suits. Go ahead.
No. I mean, you have to realize that there's people have locations, and and this is what happens. It happens in film industry. It happens in every industry.
Yeah.
When it becomes a known commodity where I can make money, or I can do this, and I can do this, that, these, and those. You want to have, it's like having, what is it, a rock in one hand, a bird in the hand. What is it? That old Southern saying, like, you want to have weight. I don't agree with anything that's, I think someone is, kicked out of their home by any means. That's wrong on all levels, especially during this time and age. And I think that if the right people heard about it, it wouldn't happen. And that's what y'all are doing. And I applaud that. I think if anybody, if someone is being kicked out of their home and they have done a service to a community that is served, Waverly Hills has served many paranormal people in the world. I see that.
Poor Seth. He's like, what did I get myself into? What did I get?
Yeah, but you see, Charlie's the type of guy. They've opened up this place to the paranormal investigation world, and they even opened up their home. I mean, you go in Ernie's house and or Charlie's house and drink a cup of coffee with him. I mean,
So where's
he's that
the property?
In Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Right, it's in Kentucky. But where
It's in outside Louisville,
where's
Louisville, Kentucky.
in the thing? I don't know.
It's literally like at the top of a hill outside Louisville.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it looks down on Louisville, don't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been on tons of
Yeah, it
shows.
looks down on Louisville more. Yeah.
This place is huge. This place is huge, and it has so much activity. And some of the stories that and from the spirits that are there are amazing. And here comes Mr. Biscuits himself.
Hello,
They are.
how are y'all?
Hello, how
Ernie,
are
I
you?
don't think
Hello,
I've never
hello.
met Dave. Even
Great.
that's Ernie, that's Dave.
Where's my pretty Denise? I don't want to see you.
She's hiding from the camera. She's
Well, I
ready
just
for
wanna say-
bed. She's
be
hiding
very
from the
clear.
camera.
I meant no disrespect. I want to make this very clear, and we need to hear this from everybody on this little checkered table right here. I was giving my from a spiritual setting. I don't know about the situation. What I highly believe, and this is, and you're talking about para unity and para community, right? Is if, and let's just say, how many people do you think have investigated Waverly Hills?
Hundreds of thousands.
Okay, so here's my question,
Mhm.
and I'm going to be the devil's asshole advocate, right? Who's sitting on the Howard toilet. You ready?
Oh
Okay.
God, that's a bad toilet.
Okay, so here's my,
Oh God.
right?
Hi, Ernie. How you doing?
Ernie,
What's going
how
on?
many of those
How you doing, Jeremy?
investigators have you seen?
What's that?
How many of those people have you met that have investigated Waverly Hills?
Thousands.
Okay. Now, when you put the website up, right?
Yes.
Right. Did you reach out to any of the studios that have filmed there?
We went to the Para-Unity convention in Las Vegas and spoke with every big name in the field about this.
Right.
Josh Gates, Jason
I know
Hawes,
Josh.
you
I knew
name
Josh when he was a photographer.
it. Johnny Zaffis, I mean, every big name that was in Vegas, we talked to them about this. The problem with them is most of them are under network contracts
And can't say a
and
damn thing.
they can't say anything. They really want to.
Right.
A lot
Have
of
you
them
went
are
to the
personal friends with the owners.
But have you been to the networks themselves?
Right. I haven't gone directly to the networks, no.
Or their agents.
Haven't you pretty much been told to kind of not go to the networks right now?
We've been told to keep it out of the media as of right now. What we're trying to do is get the word out through the paranormal community. We can't call for a boycott, but
No, I
if
can't.
Howard wanted to call for a boycott, I would applaud that.
Don't go.
That's right.
Oh, I don't know where that came from.
I do that repeatedly on just about every show. Don't go there.
I think hashtag I am Spartacus, hashtag say Waverly Hills. And you stand up for what you believe in. Like I said, I don't know the whole situation, but I do know this. If this is what I think it is, right? And like I said, I haven't been, I'm more of a holistic light worker, Reiki master teacher, right? Kind of thing. But my wife is going to kill me. I just want to let y'all know this right now. She's like, you sorry. You got off work. You opened a fucking can. But I would stand up, and you can't do it, right? But there are other people who can, who who maybe aren't under contracts,
Right.
who have paranormal shows, who produced movies. There are people. Everybody wants something, right? And you have to ask yourself, why all of a sudden? That's the question you have to ask. I'm almost 40 years old, and I have heard about Waverly Hills since sightings. So what the fuck happened all of a sudden?
Well, what happened was the owners got very sick.
Right.
And the board became dominated by this clique of greedy pieces of trash that decided this is the time to make their move. They voted Tina out, who's one of the owners. Her and her husband own the building. They voted her out as executive director of the board of directors and told them to get off the property. And they filed a lawsuit and put liens on all their properties so that they can't even sell their other properties to fight this in court, to, you know, raise money for legal fees. They are not rich people. Every penny that they were making off of Waverly Hills, they were putting back into the building. If you've been going to Waverly Hills over the years, you've seen where windows have been added, restrooms have been added, heat and air has been added. Things have been done over the years.
Right.
I can tell you, I was there from after they kicked Tina and Charlie out in January of last year. I came in February of last year and was there until July before I couldn't take it anymore, and I walked away. They didn't do a damn thing to the building that entire time to save it. What they did was they put all the money into their own salaries,
right,
and into legal fees to sue Tina and Charlie. And it's something that we're very passionate about. You know, if we came across in the chat like we were yelling at you, we weren't yelling at you. We're just very passionate about it.
I just saw my wife in the back of my third eye being like, Suits, you have been so good. You have been so good.
I knew where Ernie
was. Howard brings you on for your second time. And then you fucking open a dress. Like, oh my God.
No, I knew where Denise and Ernie were coming from. They were saying basically, hey, go read this.
Yeah.
Read this. They weren't trying to
say I mean, you know, I know you're a light worker and Reiki master and all those things, and not necessarily a paranormal, what you say is a paranormal investigator necessarily, but this is something that's important to, you're on a paranormal network right now. And it's something that's very important to the paranormal community as a whole.
Right.
And that's why, you know, we felt like, well, people need to know.
They do.
I mean, everybody needs to know what's really going on. It's not just something that you say, well, maybe we can negotiate and work something. No, to hell with them. We're not negotiating shit until Tina and Charlie are back on their own property.
Well,
we're not giving up.
I'm going to say this. So even though some people may not be under contract about what they say,
right?
And Seth, you should know this. They still have to watch it because what they say sometimes, because if they are trying to put out any type of shows, even like small shows or something, if anyone happens to say anything out of the way that disagrees either with the network or they feel it's controversial, they won't air the episodes.
Right. No, 100%.
So you have to, I mean, as far as
you got to walk a very thin line. I mean, we talk to, I mean, I could drop names all day long of people we talk to in Vegas and, you know, I mean, almost to a person, you know, they all said the same thing. They just don't want to get in trouble with the network. Because I mean, that's their livelihood, and I can't blame them at all for that.
Right. There's a better way for the spiritual quest to happen for them. And I think that, you know, there's, like I said, the wheel's spinning. And I think that there could be, you know, other ways around what they need, right? If, you know, they, you know, like the people are probably, Waverly Hills, the property probably is worth, what would you say? If you had to guess.
Oh, the property, all of that property, the building and it's a total of about 190 acres altogether.
Right.
Is probably worth $100 million or $10 million. $10 million.
Right.
The building itself is assessed at just under $1 million.
Right. So,
but you know, I mean, if you just took it as raw real estate, it's worth more than that.
Right. So that's
right.
Everybody's not a paranormal person, right? Or people. So they're seeing there's this old building on top of the hill, right? And we can get it cheap and we can.
Thanks, Denise.
You know, we can make it like, you know, that's what a lot of people are thinking. I would bet dollars to donuts and biscuits and gravy and cokes and steaks and crab claws.
You're not
Right.
talking Ernie's language when you say biscuits and gravy.
No. Peanut butter
Oh, yeah.
fudge. Peanut butter fudge. Peanut butter fudge. Look at that smile on that face.
It's about the building. It's
if
about
I-
the property.
If I can interject on something here, what Ernie was talking about, I have been going to Waverly every single year for the last, 5 years. And every year there have been some form of improvement until this last time that I went there. The last one was there was a lot of issues with some of the bathrooms that they had, so they were completely out of order. And the only thing that they had ever worked on from the previous time to the last time that I was there was that they expanded the gift shop.
Yeah. They put a wall up down there in the gift shop between the security area and the rest of the gift shop area is what they
Yes.
did.
So as far as the building of Waverly itself, no improvement at all the last time that I was there.
I think the only improvement that they did was put cubicles in.
And that's not an improvement. They put offices in for these overpaid board members. They put it in the children's cafeteria area, which is one of the most active parts of the building.
Isn't that a historical site, and you're not supposed to be changing that stuff like that?
Yeah, that's not historically accurate offices, folks.
They just don't
Those
seem
were
to care.
offices back in the day.
Here's my question. So they're in a they're going to court because they want Charlie to, because of the historical I mean, more than that, but that's part of it. So how can they get around making these changes?
I have no clue. I really don't. And as soon as Charlie can go on the offense,
that someone in the family, his family, the old person, the person who owns the property,
Charlie.
right?
Yeah.
Someone is in connection.
No, it's people who were like family that they started the board with. One of them happens to be a so-called Catholic bishop.
There's your answer right there.
Who's well known in the paranormal community because of another so-called bishop that he runs around with. And he's crooked as the day is long. Charlie thought he could trust him because he's a quote unquote Catholic bishop.
Well,
but he is the one behind all of this.
But I'm a Catholic, and I'm also a knight of Columbus. Okay, and I don't trust myself. I mean, I don't know.
I don't trust you, Howard.
I don't trust you either.
Nobody trusts you, Howard.
Don't trust anyone on this little screen.
But I feel like there's, it might be a bridge too far in some cases. I would say, can I tell you what Spirit just told me? And it's very serious. Very serious, okay? You may have opportunities coming up yourself, right? Yes. Where you can't talk about it.
I can't talk about some filming that we're doing next month.
Right. So that's what they just said right then. I'm gonna show you a picture. There's something better waiting for you.
Right. But
do what you know is right.
Near and dear to my heart. I mean, you're probably not familiar with what this means, but that's a room at Waverly Hills. What is that there?
Yes.
There is something better waiting for you. Do what you know is right. A spiritual quest. I mean, you've got to go with your heart, right? And you could be the guy who leaves $1 million on the table. I've seen it happen. People like, this is how much I care. This is how much I care. I'm leaving. This guy has offered me a show right now. Right? But this is what's on my skin. Right? That's when you choose really quick, like, hey, Eileen can talk about this.
I've been in this field for over 25 years. I've never made a dime off of it. And if I continue for another 125 years without making a dime, that won't bother me a bit. I
So,
do
Keith, let
what
me
I
tell you
do
something.
because I love it.
The people who say that are the ones who end up in front of the camera. And just ask Eileen.
I've never made a dime.
I have messages from Eileen from way back in the day. She probably remember this. Way back in the day. Way back in the day. Now Eileen going like this.
That's got scary.
That wasn't spirit. That was a post I was standing on by the corner.
But I would say no. I would say that yeah, people. That's how they're going to shut. It's going to be successful. It's going to be a success for you, and you can speak on other things and get in other rooms. Right? My dad said, "Get in other rooms. Get in other rooms, and get your message out. You might not can do it right here, right? But I am Spartacus can." Right? If everybody start, let's just say this. If Josh, don't kill me. Josh Gates said, "I am Spartacus," and that's it. Right? That's it. No, hey, I'm quoting a favorite movie. I'm quoting a damn movie. Come after me. Get me in a courtroom. Just because someone else took something else after, now this is where my wife's going to kill me. But it's true. I'm Spartacus. That's a line, right? Luke, yep. I am your father, even better. Get something that's hot right now. With great power comes great responsibility. Hashtag that shit.
How about this one? It's one constant in life. You build something worth having, someone's going to try to take it. John Dutton, Yellowstone.
Yeah, well, that's true too, and that's hot. You
fucking get
on your radar.
I've actually been in that situation.
How about mine? I mean, that's what I mean. Hey, baby, bring me the toilet paper. That's Howard Pitre.
Mine, but I mean, like,
See, I just created my own quote. So need to reevaluate my friends. That's just my own quote. Eileen Jones.
That's pretty awesome, Eileen. We're ready to take him to the train station in this case, though. Yeah. For those of you who watch
Yellowstone, right for you.
Yeah,
right?
Right.
I think it's. I applaud you for what you're doing and standing up when most people wouldn't. Right? They're just like, okay, out of somebody's home. Right? Someone's going to open that property up. That's what the investigators are saying. That someone's going to take the money. You're not going to. If you type in Waverly Place right now, how many books been written about it? How many movies been made about it? How many times film companies have come in and said, "Oh, we'll rent it out for 3 months and pay you $1 million or 100,000, whatever it is," right? That happens. That's a constant. So, you just have to be aware. But your spiritual quest is about to get very busy.
I don't want to say something right quick. I mean, I'm saying this seriously though, and I'm saying this to Ernie and Denise and everybody who's working on this Waverly, the main people. Just take care of yourselves, okay? Right. Because I'm gonna tell you something. These foundations, these things that you're doing, is a drain. It will drain you physically and emotionally.
Yeah, it will.
And you need to make sure you take care of yourselves. Not, when it's time to back away, you need to back off of it a little bit and then come maybe, regain your strength and then come back to it again. But it does take a lot from you. It'll take away from your marriage. It'll take away from your life. It'll take away from everything, all aspects of your life.
It's true.
Even, like I said, even your health. So that's what I'm saying. Just be cautious.
But
I agree. And thank you for that, Howard.
Stand up what you believe in, or you'll fall for anything. Aaron Tippin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we have put our necks on the line, our reputation as Pac-Man Paranormal, as Ernie and Denise, Todd and Leanne. Beth has been there along with us. There's a couple other people that have been staying behind the scenes, but they're there with us. It's something we truly believe in. We're very passionate about. Charlie, the owner of the building, he felt like he was on an island, like he had no friends, he had no support, and everything that he had worked for the last 20 years was being taken from him. And
well, if Charlie still feels that way, tell him that he has everybody within this network and the audience supporting him.
Well, he doesn't feel that way now. He doesn't now. But yes. I kind of feel a bit of an obligation when my phone rings every morning and it's Charlie. Every morning, first phone call I get is Charlie Mattingly. Last phone call I get every night is Charlie Mattingly. I've got to answer that call. I've got to show him that I'm there for him. And
he feels alone. That's why. That's what
it's not.
just,
Yeah, he does. He feels isolated
They
and
removed him
alone.
from.
I mean,
And I've got to be
this is
careful
a guy
too, 'cause
that
I don't know. And like Eileen said, we all have to be careful. I mean, it's just Pac-Man, I can definitely understand why you have to be careful because I'm seeing it. So you have to be extremely careful. But there are ways for you to do it. And when you do it, like I said, you do a hashtag that is open up for when it's 1,000 different people, right? But, when you get into the right rooms, you'd be like, the guy says, okay, I have $100,000 I can put there. My name can't be on it whatsoever, right? But
right.
I'll write you a check for $100,000 or whatever, whatever it is, because I know for a fact that we can do this. This can be done. This is what it's there. There has to be more.
That's what we're looking for. I mean, that's why we're trying to get the word out to as many people as we can. That's why I came on here to try to give you a little more insight into just exactly how this has all transpired and what's going on with it.
When March 4th is it March 4th when the
when our event is?
Yeah, at Old Stone Jail.
Yes. Yeah, March 4th we have an event at Old Stone Jail. Brandon Alvis, Mustafa Gadalari are doing that free of charge. They're not charging us an appearance fee or anything. And we're down to just 2 VIP tickets remaining for that. We still got some general admission tickets.
Right.
But
I would sneak in.
Where is this at?
It's at the Old Stone Jail in Franklin, Kentucky. It's a great location.
While they're going to Old Stone Jail, I'm going to sneak in the house, and that way when Denise and Ernie get home, I can go, surprise! I'm here to visit.
So I just pulled this card. A wonderful new idea. Don't allow bumps in the road to hinder your progress. Clear up communication problems with others. And so that's blue.
Nice to me, Ernie.
So that's blue. And that's talking about your voice. Pac-Man, that's talking about Ernie, talking about your voice. And so I would get some soda light. Where'd it go? I would get this.
Okay.
I would put this on my desk, and I would get me some Jasper, and I'd put that by my desk with some quartz, and I'd be like, okay, hey, let's talk, let's ground ourselves, let's figure out what's the way that we can do this without. We've done everything we can one way. That's what I think the will is saying. You can't stop in the middle of the river. That's why he's calling you every day, because he feels like people might be stopping in the middle of the river. Right. It's a nice view. It's a nice view seeing that beautiful water come running down, right? But eventually that shit's gonna hit you. And I think that's what Eileen was saying, and Howard was saying too. And that's something you won't survive. If that water hits you, like, when you said that's that property and you told me that value, you have to stand up for what you believe in, right? But you also have to. You've been doing this for 23 years, and you said I haven't taken a dime, right? Yeah, that's great. But it's time that, and this is something that I learned, and I learned a hard lesson, right? You got to know your worth, and your worth is a lot more. You need to be valued, and because you haven't taken money, that means money will be given to you. So prepare yourself for that moment. When that happens, and you feel right about it, that's what you haven't done in 23 years because you haven't felt right about it. But when it does feel right, when you're like, okay.
Yeah. All right, with that, I'm going to have to cut it short because we're at 8:59 and the show ends at 9. Another show right behind us. But I'd like to thank David and Suits and Ernie,
thank you,
the biscuit man.
Contact me, Suits.
You got it, boss.
And Jeremy York for coming on tonight and helping out. And we'll see y'all next week. I think our guest is going to be Chris Garcia again. So we're going to have Chris Garcia for 2 nights. Yeah, so.
And I'll be
So
on Sunday,
How about
Sunday
that?
8:30 for Sundays with Suits, and we're gonna be talking about spiritual, supernatural, and how sometimes they suck. So y'all be good. Thank you. God bless. Onward, upward, greatness abound. Soak up that humanity. I'm going back to the interwebs. Bye.
Good night, y'all.